To get that smacking mix is hard but not complicated. It all comes down to 4 essential mixing pillars. In today's video, I'm finally showing you what you all have been asking for, my full mixing process, broken down into 4 core pillars I wish I knew when I first started producing. I'll explain each pillar and show you how I apply them so you can actually see how it works inside a project. Also, you can get the stems for my puzzle remake to try what I share in this video. Link is in the description. But before we start, let's address the question everyone has. Do you need $100 or $200 studio monitors or headphones to get a clean mix? Short answer, no, but also yes. Expensive gear gives you accuracy, but even with decent entry-level studio headphones, you can absolutely achieve a great mix as long as you follow the fundamentals. Alright, let's jump into the first pillar. Pillar number 1, sound selection. And I know, you have heard this in every mixing video, but don't worry. I'll share how to get perfect samples for your songs in just a bit. In 2025, every sample pack has 6 sounds. You just need to choose the right one for your tracks. Pick quality samples and presets that fit in your genre and vibe. Here's a quick example. I have got this Future House drop. It needs a smacking kick. This track is a Future House track. Now, to find the perfect one, I will look for genre-specific packs like a Future House sample pack. And the cherry on top is if you have your favorite artist pack. I can use Vlog sample pack to get a perfect kick. Let's drag and drop this one. It's not that good, like it's too much boomy. For this type of drop, we need some hard-hitting punchy kicks with some high-end texture too. So it's more like a boomy, like thumpy kick. This is too soft, like it's for verse like break. Now let's check something else. This sounds pretty cool. So this one fits perfectly, but still we can check some other samples. This one is also nice. So as you can see from all these samples, this one fits perfectly with the drop. So this is just a basic example of showing you how to find perfect samples. The main thing for sound selection is knowing what types of sounds are used in the genre you're making. Now, the thing you have been waiting for. Anas, how do I find great samples? How do I know? Here are some pro tips for great samples. First, splice. Filter by genre, simple. Then, artist sample packs. Want to sound like Vlor? Use his pack. Arcando? Use his pack. If you want to sound like MHA, Kling, 6 sounds, use their packs. Easy. And also, if you want to sound like me, check out my packs. I'm kidding. We are talking about high quality samples. Now, genre-specific packs. If you want to make Future House, then use Future House sample packs. If you want to make Future Bass, use Future Bass sample packs. Easy. But if you are like me and love free stuff,
yeah, boy.
Search free sample packs on YouTube or check sites with free downloads. 6 Sounds and Moonboy often provide beta packs for their upcoming releases, or even anasabinmusic.com. Also, download free FLPs and collect the samples inside. Boom, you are building your own library. Thanks me later, alligator. Now you have got great sounds, but your track still does not feel right. That's because you haven't balanced it yet. Pillar number 2, balancing out. This covers everything. Leveling, the most important thing, stereo placement, and the dynamic range of your track. Rule number 1 for leveling is to set priorities. For EDM drops, this is my priority chain. First kick, then bass, then vocals and leads, then fourth claps, chords and arps, and fifth effects, fills, ear candy, and all these small stuffs. Let's do a live example. Here's the stem of my puzzle remake. Disclaimer, lower your volume first. Alright, ready? I'm going to press play. So basically I normalize everything here so we can do leveling from scratch. So let's start with the first priority, which is kick. So let's reduce it like -6, -3 dB. Now we will adjust the sub bass around that. This sounds nice. -7 dB. Now let's level the mid bass. So now I think it's time to add sidechain on it. So I will link both the basses onto a separate channel and I will link it to the sidechain. So this is the basic sidechain. Now let's move on to the claps. So we have 3 claps. The first clap is kind of a stadium clap and we don't want that much of the release. So let's reduce it a bit. We need a short clap. Let's link all the claps to one main channel. Right now it sounds nice. Now let's move on to the hi-hats and top loops. Again we have 3 hi-hats. So let's start with the one. Let's reduce the volume. Something like this. Now let's add another one. Now let's add the last one. Alright, this sounds nice, pretty cool. Now the top loop. It's also super loud. Sounds pretty nice. Overall the drum sounds pretty nice. So let's bring back the bass. I think we can increase the bass. Now let's mix drop leads. So I will add the sidechain. I think the kick can be a bit louder. So one tip, you can switch to mono when you are leveling, so it's a bit easier. Now let's just listen to the leads and bass. Sounds pretty cool. Now I will link all the drums to a single bus. I think hi-hat can be a bit more louder, so let's increase it. And I think the top loop can be a bit louder too. Now let's bring the drop chords. Super loud. To mix the drop chords and all the ear candy elements, I first mute them, then gradually raise the volume until I can just start hearing them in the mix. That helps me to find the sweet spot. So here I can hear the chords, but we can increase a bit more. So this is a bit too much. Like, I think this is the sweet spot. Alright, now let's solo all the synths. So as you can hear in the synths, the prominent sound is the sub bass. Then the drop leads. Then after that, mid bass. Then drop chords. I think the kick can be a bit louder. Now let's mix the effects. This can be good. We can decrease the sub bass a bit. Let's decrease the effects. So after leveling, it sounds like this. right now you're thinking, Anas, what are you doing? It's just basic simple thing. To be honest, leveling is one of the basic and most important thing in mixing. And also one of the important thing is to keep checking if everything blends together again and again. You gotta spend some time. Alright, different sections need different priorities. In the intro, it might be vocals, reese bass, pads, or maybe vocals, pads, reese bass. You know what I mean. Now, let's talk about balancing the stereo placement or stereo spectrum of the drop or whole track. I've got a comment, so let's cover it. In the drop, your bass should cover most of the mono range, particularly the sub bass. Then your mid bass for the low mid regions, and some layers can be a bit stereo. For example, listen to this bass. Here's the layers. We have more mid bass layers. So first layer, as you can see, this one is also mono, like not completely, but yeah. Now another layer. Now this one is also same, but now check out this one. As you can see, this one is more stereo, and you can even hear it. Then check out this layer. It's also wide. So that's how I balance the stereo spectrum. So to fill the stereo placement in the drop, the main things are your leads and chords, the important ones. Personally, I never add Stereo Shaper plugin on my leads. I only use Stereo Shaper on chords or like ear candy stuff like drones and arps. Here's an example from a Mike Williams song.
The 5 plugins I use for the lead sound of 1975. Number 1 is Serum, and it sounds like this.
You can hear this layer is more mono.
Then I added some more layers.
But then he adds more layers, most are detuned, very widespread, covering the stereo field. Here's one example from one of my tracks. So this is my track Stay. Now check out the lead, it sounds mono. So these are the layers. This one is a bit stereo, another one. This one is completely mono. And this layer. This one is a bit stereo, but still not that much wide. This one is the last layer, which is completely mono. So this lead sounds mono. Then with all the instrument, it sounds like this. You can feel it's not that much huge and wide. So what I did, I just added some wide layers. Simple. So the wide layer sounds like this. Layers. These are so much wide. With the main lead layer, it sounds like this. And with all the instrument, it sounds like this. As you can see, I did not add a stereo shaper, I just added wide layers. And let's enable the reverb too. This adds a lot of depth, like more space and wideness into the lead. So now our lead has balanced mono and stereo information. Do the same with the chords. You can even use Stereo Shaper. By the way, I don't use Stereo Shaper plugins on my leads. That does not mean you should do the same. Everyone's workflow is different, so I would recommend trying it out for yourself and saying what works best for your sound. Now, one of the important things is when layering multiple sounds, your aim is for them to sound like one main sound. Check out what Martin Garrix said in this video.
So you hear one sound, but it's actually 8 sounds.
He said it sounds like one sound, but it's 8 sounds. That's the main thing to take care of while layering. But even after balancing, things might sound messy. That's where cleaning comes in. Removing what does not need to be there. Pillar number 3, cleaning. EQ is your best friend, the most used plugin in human history. Source, trust me bro. For the leads, cut the lows, but don't overdo it. Keep what's important. As you can see, we have some information in the low end region. And we don't want that. So we'll cut it down, but not extremely. So keep in mind we have the information in the low mid region too, so we don't have to overdo it. Now for bass, reduce or cut the highs. On the sub bass, I added EQ to cut the high end frequencies because we don't want that. And on the mid bass, I've reduced the high end a bit to create space for the leads. I got a request to cover synth processing. For me, the synth processing is a part of production. It depends on the track and what effects you want. But still, I will explain. So, my processing chain is simple. I just add distortion to boost the character of the sounds. Then EQ to clean it. After that, OTT to glue it all together, and if needed, some saturation. Then bunch of EQs to shape the sound or to cut unnecessary frequencies. Now here are some bonus techniques for cleaning. Clipping for clean headroom. After processing, I add a clipper like G-Clip to cut unnecessary peaks, which creates headroom for mastering. Don't overdo it or you will kill your transients and distort your mix. Now kick plus bass cleaning trick. Sidechain and inverse sidechain. Here's my method. Add Shaper box as a sidechain to the bass. Then add the same instance to the kick but flip it vertically. This clears space for the kick while shaping the bass for that signature pumping effect. You can do something similar with Kickstart too. Use Grossbeat or any volume shaper plugin. Leads plus vocal cleaning. Dynamic ducking. When vocals and leads clash, simple EQ won't work, brother. So right now, the vocals and synths sound like this.
You're my sweet escape, my heart's desire.
Here are some advanced tips. First, peak controller method. Open Fruity Peak controller and an EQ on your vocal track. Select the vocal's prominent frequency range.
My heart's desire, fall in.
Copy the EQ to the synth track and disable it from the vocals. Let's link the bands to Fruity Peak controller and set the mapping to inverted. And same for this one.
You're my sweet escape, my heart.
It sounds something like this, which is weird. Now let's control it. So first, set the bass to 50.
You're my sweet escape.
And then play with the volume.
You're my sweet escape, my.
So the maximum depth should be like around -2 dB.
We're a chemical explosion in the night.
I think this sounds perfect. So if I exaggerate it, it sounds like this.
You're my sweet escape, my heart's desire.
But we don't want that, so let's keep it around 10%, 11%.
You're my sweet escape, my heart's desire.
Let's do the A and B.
You're my sweet escape, my heart's desire. Fall into you, I feel the fire.
It's a very slight change, but adds too much. A great example is Martin Garrix's Carry You track. In the instrumental, you can hear how they duck the lead frequencies to create space for the vocals. Not the same method, but the same concept. Now, second method, patcher multiband sidechain. So in this method, I will add patcher on the synths and I will select multiband sidechain preset. Sidechain the vocals to the synths. Now open patcher and click on map.
What the f is this piece of shit?
Hold the yellow dot and attach the string to connect the sidechain. Now all the strings are attached. Open these two EQs to check the sidechain.
You're my sweet escape, my heart's desire. Fall into you.
And boom, you have got multiband dynamic sidechain.
Chemical explosion in the night.
Play with the knobs to find the sweet spot. The more accurate version is using Suit 2. So in Patcher, if I boost the vocal frequency, it reduces the same. If I decrease the sound, it's still the same, which does not happen in Suit 2. Suit 2 sidechain method. Sidechain the vocals to the leads or the synth. Open Suit 2 on the synth track. Set the sidechain input to the vocals and enable the sidechain knob. You have the sidechain.
Sweet escape, my heart's desire. Fall into you, I feel the fire.
And also you can use dynamic EQ like Pro Q or TDR Nova. Now, pillar number 4, analyzing. Now that's everything mixed, reference it. E and B your track with professional one in the same genre. Compare volume balance, frequency spectrum, stereo width, energy and loudness. That's it for the mixing. Now, here's my mastering chain. So first I will add Fruity Balance to reduce the volume by -2 to -6 dBs. Then after that I will add an EQ for small tweaks. But be careful while using EQ on mastering. Do not reduce more than -1 or -2 dB. Now after that I will add Saturn 2. It is optional just to add crispiness. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So I've created 4 bands here. This one is above 4000 Hz. This one is above 830 to 4000 Hz. This covers the low end like below 150 Hz. And this one is the low mid region 150 to 800 Hz. That's it. Now I will switch the distortion type to clean tube for all of them. So to add saturation, I will first solo the band. Then I will increase the band knob like the drive knob till I start hearing the distortion. here I can hear the distortion. Like on 80 and 90, I can feel the distortion. Now from the point where I start hearing distortion, I will decrease 25 to 30% to find the sweet spot. So I will keep something between 40 to 50. Now I will do the same for each band. Now for the mid region. So I can hear some distortion at 66. Something around 30 to 40. To be honest, for me to hear distortion in the high end is a bit hard. So that's why I will keep it around 40 to 20%. So I don't touch sub bass a lot. Without saturation, it sounds like this. And by the way, I learned this saturation trick from Fico. Then after saturation, I will add Suit 2. Then I will use the Master by Godwin 2 preset. That's it. Then after Suit 2, I will add a clipper to cut the peaks. Then at last, I will add a limiter to boost the song. That's it. This is too much. You can hear the low end is distorting a lot, so I can keep it around -7 to -6. And when you're done with mastering, don't forget to enable 2x oversampling in G-Clip and 8x or 16x oversampling in Pro L2. Also, I recently started using the God Particle. It's a pretty sick plugin. If you follow Jay Esker, you probably know about it. But yeah, I don't use it on every track since it's very CPU intensive. So this is our track without mastering. So as you can hear, the master is not making a big difference, it's just boosting the track and it's balancing the all frequency ranges. So my master chain is very simple, it's not super technical, maybe that's why I'm not getting signed. But hey, it works for me. Now try it for yourself. You can download the Puzzle Remix stems and try mixing them yourself. Use code MIXING at checkout to get them for free because the service I use has a size limit on free downloads. Link is in the description. That's my entire mixing and mastering workflow, broken down in a way that actually makes sense. Also my new song, Warmth of Your Light, or you could say The ID of Swedish House Mafia, Another Minute remix is out today. I'll make a breakdown video next Friday. Let me know in the comments if you want the FLP too. And if you learned something new, drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We are so close to 5k subs. Have a productive session, enjoy your weekend, and make some banger music. Now get out of here.